bye!
Easy distress, that's the way that I get things done. From now to depression, gonna speak too long, and I hang around like a bomb. I think I'm going nowhere, and that makes me nervous. Everybody's at the game, but I feel alright. Everybody's at the game, but I feel alright. Everybody's at the game, but I feel alright. Everybody's thinking about me, but I feel alright. Everybody's at the game, but I feel alright.
Ding dong, the Switch is dead. Well, not the Switch, but that's what rhymed. Greenlight, in fact, is dead, having been unceremoniously executed by Valve, as it should have been, after years and years and years of bollocks. Join me, won't you, as we hold a tribute, as we hold a funeral to Steam Greenlight. Slave Tetris.
Slave at the time.
That was Slave Tetris. Steam Greenlight, you were like a candle in the wind, left unattended to blow over and burn the fucking house down. Valve's experimental way of using the public as an unpaid vetting service was unveiled in August of 2012. The system, in case you somehow don't know, allowed developers to pay a $100 fee that went to the charity Child's Play and submit their game details, including summary, description and trailer, for public approval. If a game got enough votes, it would be allowed onto Steam. Ironically, Greenlight was initially perceived as a bottleneck, if you can believe it, a restrictive process that wasn't allowing enough games through. On September 11th, 2012, Valve revealed the first batch of successful Greenlight games, and it was only 10, including fan favourites like Black Mesa and Cry of Fear. In October, a further 21 games were approved, including Octodad Dadliest Catch, the Stanley Parable HD Remix, and Yog Ventures. That was the largest batch of games for a while, with approvals coming in waves of between 10 and 15 over several months. A full year later, Valve made good on its promise to do better with regards to approval numbers, and the nightmare began. In August of 2013, a whole 100 games were given the green light, and from there, everything went to shit. By embracing what Valve called an open market infrastructure, the sluice gates were officially open and the shit kickers were ready for business. 25 titles in September, 32 titles in October, 37 titles later that same October, 100 more titles that very same October, 40 titles in November, 100 in December, and on it went. Valve had lived up to its promise of wider approvals and shattered the bottleneck clogging up the system, but at the expense of Greenlight itself, which would see its reputation plummet in subsequent months, especially after it made headlines not for the many great games it uncovered, but for the disasters it led to. Valve, it seemed, gave up on quality control entirely, and the hacks of the world took advantage, finding ways to get votes even if their games were complete shite. Meanwhile, it was hard for a lot of good games to get a chance due to the utter flood of submissions overwhelming potential voters. You could get bumped off the first page of Greenlight overnight, replaced by any number of games quickly cobbled together from pre-bought assets and resold as original games. Adding to the problem was Steam's trading card market. The cards you could unlock in games and sell to other users could be worth more than the games themselves, which eventually started selling for $1 a piece or just being given free to customers in the hundreds. Also, the developers could cash in on a percentage of the card sales. In a year's time, Steam Greenlight went from an interesting experiment that shone a genuine spotlight on promising games to a carnival of bloody fuck where chaos reigned and oversight was in short supply. In fact, to get Valve to step in and do something, you had to go pretty far. One of the very few games Valve actually removed from Greenlight was about quite literally murdering gay people for being gay, setting the bar incredibly low for submissions. Meanwhile, copyright infringement was indulged, such as that time somebody tried to get a World of Warcraft mod approved for Steam. Oh yes, that quite literally happened, and no, it wasn't Blizzard who submitted it, obviously. Oh, and then there was this one, a shit mobile game that ripped off Nintendo's Mii's. Sure, it can be argued Valve wouldn't have approved these particular games even if they got the votes, but they were still taking up real estate and wasting everybody's fucking time with their bullshit, and also, Valve's let this sort of shit happen on its watch before, so we could never be 100% sure. Cheapoid mobile knockoffs like Super Me reflected the reputation Greenlight had after it started letting games go up in the hundreds. It was no better than Google Play, a place with few rules and less restrictions where the scum-sucking asset flippers and con merchants of the world could ply their trade. Hell, Hell, it was a rule that you needed a trailer to go with your Greenlight submission, but there were loads of games without trailers, sometimes without even screenshots. Just a name, a placeholder page, because they could do that sort of thing. They could waste time and space like that, and Valve wouldn't enforce even the few laws it had in place. From this nugget of shit, an oak tree of bollocks did grow. Among the bullshit artists vying for attention on Greenlight, a small rogues gallery of regular antagonists appeared. Chief among them was, of course, Digital Homicide, the by now infamous studio most synonymous with reselling store-bought assets as original work. Under Valve's hands-off approach, this company would submit over 21 games with several approvals thanks to the giveaway of massive amounts of free game codes. They submitted well over and above 21 games, by the way, it's just that's about the time I stopped counting. DigiHom was also one of the few entities to find the snapping point of Valve's otherwise slack leash, after they went on an upload rampage, taking up entire pages with clones of the same game, using slightly different glorified clip art each time. Valve restricted their ability to upload, but it would take Digital Homicide filing a lawsuit against 100 anonymous Steam users for saying mean things, and attempting to subpoena Valve before Steam finally shut them out for good. Meanwhile, Fatfly, an emotionally unstable homophobe from Australia, could upload shooter tactics over and over and over and over again, right up until Greenlight's sudden and underwhelming death.
I bought them because they got a lot of assets in there, and it saved me a lot of time making more than 20 maps to add an extra map on that someone else has made. I've made about 10 different maps of my own and released about 4 or 5 of them. And I've got about another 4 to come that are half finished. And here's this idiot, this little scumbag bastard.
Shooter Tactics was obviously an asset flip, a bunch of guns and maps that had already been made by someone else. This game would not get the votes it needed to hit Greenlight, ever. But Fatfly was free to call anybody criticising him fucking queers and have a public breakdown as further submissions of his game got more unhinged, with angry new titles and embarrassing behaviour in comments and on video. Cobra Studios was another legendary recurring villain in this sad little tale, making a name for itself by issuing one of those cowardly DMCA-style video takedowns towards yours truly. The company threw a little hissy fit when its shoddy mobile port made of, you guessed it, pre-bought assets got criticised, so it abused YouTube's copyright system to take said criticism down. After it kicked up a stink over the pitiful Island Light, it would return with a number of buggy, utterly broken games, also enjoying some voting success and getting such janky vomit as this onto the store's front page. Then there was BMC Studio, who, well, let's just take a little look at this unrepentant bollocks.
I am pretty sure he is a spy firm.
Yes, I won't be able to on the stage. The unit say we give me so much money for him.
But we have a small problem. He is not from the United States.
Oh, I see. He's from Japan. That's not a problem. They will give me money too.
No, look.
Oh no, he's Canadian.
Not only Canadian, fresh Canadian.
No! Find him a plane and send him to Canada as soon as possible.
Yes, leader.
I will kill you like a Jew in the Holocaust.
While not recurring, Greenlight had some notable one-shot disasters as well. Skateman Intense Rescue is among the more famous, one of the most unbelievable games of all time, and yes, the footage you're watching is running at its intended frame rate, your computer ain't broken. Steam Greenlight can also be thanked for introducing us to Guise of the Wolf and its misleadingly named developer Fun Creators. They didn't so much create fun as become the unintended subjects of it, when they also abused YouTube's automated systems and had a critical video of Total Biscuits removed. That didn't go well for them. As a result of being one of the better known names to extensively cover Greenlight, I've had run-ins with most or all of the service's more notorious arseholes, some of whom will be the focus of a later episode specifically targeting developer behaviour. To reiterate what I've said before, however, my coverage of Greenlight has earned me lawsuits, threats of both a legal and physical manner, harassment, and at least one case of creepy stalkerish behaviour. None of which Valve ever commented on, none of which Valve ever dealt with, either on my behalf or the behalf of regular regular Steam users who sometimes found themselves facing the same threats, from an onslaught of erratic individuals who would be cranks and wingnuts in any civilized community but found themselves in positions of professional standing thanks to Greenlight's come one, come all, come directly in our eyes approach to Steam. But of course, Greenlight did do some good and has seen a number of success stories. Such high-profile Greenlight alumni include Risk of Rain, Superhot, Papers, Please, Artemis, and many more, including the best-worst game of all time, Age of Barbarian, or Age of Barbarin, depending on how the dev felt like spelling it that day. Without Greenlight, this would never have happened. Could you not have just, like, pixelated them a bit? That's just garish, that blurring there. Anyway. Uh-oh. He looks like the bad guy from Bloodsport. Oh, fantastic. He didn't even say anything. That was just drums and staring. I'm in love with this game. Who the hell are you? Yes! Yes! Look at it! Okay, this is officially the best thing. This is the best thing. Alright, come on, let's deal with it. Boom, 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 boom. I set up Operation Cleanlight to try and find the good games amongst what had become, by 2015, a dump truck full of shredded foreskins. Greenlight Good Stuff was able to dig out a few rare gems before Valve shut up shop, including Immortal Redneck, Mastima Out of Hell, and the recently released utterly chill Passepartout the Starving Artist, a game in which you can churn out artistically bereft nonsense and make money from the terminally gullible, so basically you get to be Steam wearing a beret. But seriously, Passepartout is a great laugh. Someone bring it on the Switch so I can doodle cocks on plane rides and call it work. Greenlight, though largely the place where shitty meme games and asset flips took root, did see some genuinely terrific stuff get onto Steam that would have been ignored in the company's more restrictive, exclusive years, and I can't deny that. Even so, the weirdos it attracted and the cottage industries that sprung up around it cannot be ignored. Plenty of users would vote for shit games just as a joke, and if you don't believe enough people can be in on a bad joke enough to see it manifest, just check out the positive reviews for Bad Rats games. When not voting for jokes, users could be manipulated by what became known as Greenlight boosters. These boosters were usually just groups of bottom-feeding jerk-offs presenting themselves as marketing experts, asking money in exchange for exposure, and though they never explicitly said so, they also offered ill-gotten votes for approval. Typically, Greenlight boosters would do what Digital Homicide did on a larger scale, offering free game codes, sometimes for major AAA releases, in exchange for votes. Some of these groups even fancied themselves 2-bit mafioso, with stories of them insulting and even threatening developers who didn't want to use their services. Perhaps the most famous Greenlight booster was the drearily named YOLO Army, another group that once threatened me with a lawsuit when I covered their shady practices. They also associated themselves with Fatfly, the homophobe we talked about earlier. Classy group of people. While I was trying to push promising games past all the asset flips via Greenlight Good Stuff, it cannot be stated enough what a great job Steam user Mellow Online and his fellow members of the Guardians of Greenlight group did to push back against these exploitative cottage industries, exposing shady Greenlight boosters and dodgy developers wherever they could. For their efforts, they too were rewarded with threats and harassment, most of which went completely unchecked. Then Greenlight died. The last game to be submitted to Greenlight just 15 minutes before Valve suddenly closed it was The Underground King. Quite a good game, actually. It did end on a high note, or it would have, but then more things happened. Greenlight didn't die without one last explosion of shit as it voided its lapsed bowels all over Steam. Possibly due to not wanting to refund so many people who paid the $100 fee, Valve went through the games left on Greenlight after its closure and approved, well, lots of them. Lots and lots of them, including this one that you've been watching the trailer for this whole time. No, that's not a screenshot, that's the trailer that was submitted, that's a video. Here is a basic Unity engine tutorial sold as someone's original game. Greenlit not by the community, but by Valve, the company that will be approving games all on its own very soon. All of them. Over the weekend, Guardlight noted that the amount of approved games went from 12,910 to 14,655, and it seems to still be going. And that's how Greenlight ends. Not with a bang, but with a spray of liquid excretia that got all over our faces and a bit in our mouths. Really makes you excited for Steam Direct, huh? Can't wait.
The city is full of monsters like you.
Who knows what the future holds? Will Steam Direct be better? Probably not. In fact, it'll probably be a load of bullshit. But that remains to be seen. Until then, join me, won't you, in crying for Steam Greenlight. For me. Oh, hold on, I'm gonna come as well.
Everybody's thinking about me.
Oh, Ubisoft. Disrespectful. But a fitting place for Oh Ubisoft! All the news that's fit to make you roll your eyes and say, Oh Ubisoft! They changed their logo. It looks like a white dog turd in the summer. Like what you used to see when you were a kid. It's exactly what it looks like. A big swirl, load of shit. Just after I got new lights on the Jimquisition lectern to change colour to blue, Ubisoft's colour, when I do Oh Ubisoft, there's no blue to be seen. It is bereft of blue. It's just white now. Just dog turd white. It looks rubbish, it's boring, and I hate it. Oh, Ubisoft. And don't think that I didn't notice the joke about ironic in your E3 pre-E3 sizzle E3 pre-E3 trailer. I saw it. I saw you try and dad joke your way out of that one. And if you think that's going to stop me making fun of you for using Iconic a lot, it probably will because you're too self-aware, but I'll find other things! Because I'm Jim fucking Sterling's son, and you are just, oh, Oh, Ubisoft.